Day number 9 of Chicago Bears training camp is in the books, and running back David Montgomery really had a special day of practice. What's going on, guys? I'm back with the daily Chicago Bears training camp update videos where I'll be giving you guys all the latest updates from Bears training camp. Giving you guys news on injuries, who's looking good, who's not looking so good. So if you guys want all that news every single day, be sure to subscribe to this channel. But in today's video, guys, I'll be covering day 9 of camp, which is today, August 7th. And there actually wasn't like a whole lot that went on today. It wasn't like a very eventful practice. So this video probably won't be as long as usual, but that's mainly because a third of our team did not participate in practice today, okay? And I'm not even exaggerating. Almost a third of our team was out due to injury or other various reasons. So I'm going to read the list now of every Bear that missed practice today. And the Bears that missed practice due to injury today are Roquan Smith, Josh Woods, Tevin Jenkins, Latavius Simmons, Larry Borum, JP Holtz, Thomas Ives, Tashawn Gibson, Eddie Jackson, Artie Burns, James Daniels, Jermaine Ifedi, and Tariq Cohen. Okay, all those guys missed practice due to injury. And there's also some more guys that did practice, but they were limited due to injury. And those guys are Damiere Byrd, Michael Joseph, Robert Quinn, Badora Traore, Desmond Trufant, Artavis Pierce, and Joel Iyiegbuniwe. Now, we also have 5 guys on the COVID list who they also did not practice. Patrick Scales, Elijah Wilkinson, Eddie Goldman, and Christian Jones. I think that's actually 4 people, my bad. And we also had 4 more people that did not practice due to load management days, okay? They just had a rest day because they're older veterans. So Jimmy Graham, Akeem Hicks, Khalil Mack, and Denny Trevathan also did not practice due to rest. So guys, pretty much a third of our roster was not even practicing today. So obviously it's not going to be a very long video because what can you take away on a day like this? But there were still some pretty impressive plays that I do want to talk about that happened today. One of them was a David Montgomery 45+ bulldozing carry. Okay, this was a phenomenal day, first of all, by David Montgomery. He's having a great camp the last few weeks. He looks faster than usual. He looks as strong as he did before. He looks in shape and he looks ready to go. So it's been a great camp so far for Montgomery. But today, guys, in his own 5-yard line, okay, so they're doing drills from their own 5-yard line, David Montgomery broke multiple tackles at the line of scrimmage and went forward for a 45+ yard run. Okay, 45+ yards. That is a big time run, an explosive run, which a lot of people criticize David Montgomery for not being able to break, those big ones through, but he's doing so in camp already, okay? And they could also tackle him, okay? Live tackling is allowed now, so they just simply could not bring down Monty, which I saw earlier in camp as well, okay? Yesterday when I was there in practice, he also had a similar play where he broke a couple tackles en route to scoring a touchdown. So his ability to just, keep his body moving, keep his legs moving, and just power through and break these tackles, I mean, it's really hard to do in this league. I mean, he has a shiftiness and power that is kind of a rare combination. Obviously, I would not call Monty an elite running back just yet, like probably not a top 3, top 5 running back just yet, but he can certainly be in the conversation with another great year this year, which you guys also have to keep in mind, man. Monty has never played behind a great offensive line, not even a good offensive line, okay? Throughout his entire career with the Bears, he's never had even average offensive lines for the most part. Last year, during the last, 5 or 6 games of the year, right, when our offensive line was finally playing somewhat better, that's when you saw Monty go off for those 100+ yard games, and that's what he's capable of doing with actual good O-line plays. So if Monty's O-line continues to actually improve in front of him, if Matt Nagy runs the ball a lot more, which he said he wants to do this year, okay, earlier in the interview a couple days ago, Matt Nagy said that he wants 20+ carries a game this year for Monty, which we'll see if that happens. Okay, it is Matt Nagy who hates to run the football, but if that actually happens, Monty could be prime for a breakout season. I would want to say that last year was his breakout season because he finished top 5 in rushing. He finished top 5 in broken tackles and a lot of other stats as well. But people still, for some reason, do not respect David Montgomery. Okay, he's not even ranked among the top 25 running backs in a lot of people's list. Madden also doesn't rank him as even being, I think, a top 20 running back either. So there's a lot of people in this league and a lot of fans as well that don't put the proper respect on Monty's name, but I think they will after this season. So that's the news on Monty. Okay, a very fantastic day. I next want to talk about the Bears defense, who actually won the day today. Okay, today, according to all the reports I saw, the Bears defense by far had the better day than the offense. Okay, they were out there getting safeties, getting turnovers, getting interceptions, and just making big time plays pretty much the entire practice. What you guys have to keep in mind, obviously our starting O-line is very bad right now in camp. You have, third, fourth string starters on the O-line, so it's going to be a lot easier as a defense to get those sacks, to get those, big time plays. But I'm also not going to discount how good the Bears defense has been recently, okay? Even other parts of their defense, like the secondary. The secondary today had themselves a day, okay? A lot of the people in the secondary that did play, that weren't injured, they actually played pretty good. Xavier Crawford, who I talked about yesterday, I don't think he's going to make the roster for us, but he's a intriguing, option at nickel corner. And today he was playing nickel corner with the first team defense, okay? So I guess the Bears are trying to rotate a bunch of different people in at nickel with the first team to see who plays better. And today, Xavier Crawford had another interception, okay? Yesterday, he picked off Justin Fields. Today, he picked off Andy Dalton on the first team offense, which that's pretty impressive, guys, okay? I still don't think this guy is probably going to make the roster. He is kind of a underdog right now, unless he has a phenomenal preseason and rest of training camp. But making plays now on back-to-back days, that's pretty good. Okay, so keep an eye right now on Xavier Crawford. If he makes more plays on the road, then maybe we'll start talking about him a little bit more. But, pretty good day by him. I also want to talk about Alec Ogletree again. Okay, I talked about him a lot yesterday, but guess what, guys? He had another interception today in practice. Okay, this time he intercepted a deflected ball, and Alec Ogletree was in perfect position to catch that ball and come away with the interception, which, guys, he has 5 interceptions now in the last 3 days of practice. He's only been here for 3 days. He already has 5 interceptions. I cannot even wrap my mind around that. Obviously, it is only practice and remains to be seen if he can actually do this in the real games. But so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Alec Ogletree. Okay, this guy could be one of the more underrated signings of 2021 if he actually does make the roster and keeps on making plays like he's doing right now. Because obviously, Danny Trevathan, we know his, struggles in coverage. Okay, last year in coverage, he was not the best player. Okay, he doesn't have the same speed, the same acceleration that he had when he was like 5 years younger. So, Alec Ogletree making all these plays here, he could be a decent backup option behind Danny Trevathan. So I'd love to see that out of Ogletree. Next, I do want to talk about Angelo Blackson, also on the defense. So this guy is a backup defensive end that we signed this year for just a cheap 1-year deal. So he isn't really like a big player to watch. But today, guys, he had a hell of a day. Okay, he had 3 safeties on goal line drills. Okay, 3 times he got there in the backfield and pretty much, sacked the quarterback. You can't really sack anybody right now in practice, but that's, would have been a sack if it was a real life game. So obviously, again, keep in mind it's going up against some pretty subpar talent, okay, 3rd, 4th string linemen, but still, okay, I had to mention that. Getting 3 safeties in 1 day, that's pretty cool for a guy like him who's going to be on the outside looking in when it comes to roster cuts, okay? So if he does make more plays going forward, if he makes more plays in preseason games as well, then maybe he could actually stick on this roster. So top to bottom, man, a great day by the defense. I also do want to mention the turnover bucket, guys, because the turnover bucket is turning into like a big thing now with the Bears defense. I don't know if it's going to continue for the regular season, if they're going to bring that bucket out there for the real games as well, but right now it's turning into a pretty fun, bonding activity for the members of the Bears defense. Okay, everybody wants to get picks now. They want to get turnovers so they can dunk that ball into the turnover bucket, which Travis Gibson, guys, today in practice, he said that they actually broke the first bucket. So now they're actually planning on upgrading the bucket to have a basketball hoop in there as well, so they can actually dunk it a little bit harder, which obviously that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But these bonding activities, man, they do, get your team a little bit more excited to play football. They get your team a little bit more together. They get the energy up. So obviously I'm going to be for that if it's loved this much by the members of the Bears defense. Like pretty much everybody talks about this now, okay? The turnover bucket. Everybody wants to dunk that ball into the bucket and add it to the growing list of turnovers. So I love that for the Bears defense, man, finally getting that energy up again, because the energy hasn't been there really all of last year. Okay, last year was a bad year for the defense. Hopefully the defense now is returning back to life. I also want to briefly talk about the Bears quarterbacks. How did Justin Fields look today? How did Andy Dalton look today? And it won't be a long review about the quarterbacks because it's kind of the same stuff like I said yesterday. Okay, so both quarterbacks did have pretty accurate days throwing down the field. That's something I've said pretty much all of camp. Okay, the deep accuracy on both of these guys, it's been pretty on point most of camp. Now today they did have some more mistakes. So Justin Fields did have a couple overthrown balls. Andy Dalton did have a couple interceptions. So they didn't look as impressive as they did probably yesterday and the days before, but they still, all in all, looked, pretty good for the most part. Okay, so some throws that I want to highlight were Andy Dalton, first of all, he had a very nice deep ball to Rodney Adams for a touchdown, which Rodney Adams, guys, is catching balls from both, Fields and Dalton. So maybe he's going to be switching off between first team and second team, okay? He's actually looking pretty good in whatever role he's playing in camp. So great day by Adams, great catch there, and great throw by Dalton as well. I also want to talk about Justin Fields, and he had a great throw also over the middle to Javon Wims, okay? Going over the middle for, I think it was 15, 20 yards. He kind of had to fit that ball in there in a tight window, and he got that ball out perfectly and placed it perfectly as well. So great throw there by Fields. He also did have another good throw, Fields that is, going to Javon Wims down the right corner of the end zone, which Javon Wims actually dropped. So not a good play by Javon Wims, but the ball was a pretty good ball by Justin Fields. Okay, a pretty nice and accurate deep ball. So all in all, guys, I mean, both quarterbacks had throws that they probably wanted back. They also had throws that were pretty impressive, but nothing really has changed in this quarterback race still, okay? I'm not even sure if it's a race right now because Matt Nagy has been pretty adamant about having Andy Dalton be the #1 starter as of now until he gives him a reason to not be the starter anymore. So as of now, I still think Andy Dalton is going to be the starter week 1, but we'll see what happens rest of camp. So that's pretty much all the news I have for you guys today. Again, I apologize, I do not have a lot of information in this video. It's a pretty short video, but that's mainly because a third of the team did not even practice. So I hope those guys get healthy pretty fast. All of them are pretty minor injuries, so they shouldn't be out for like a long amount of time, but some guys, for example, like Tevin Jenkins, they have been out now for some time. So I'm kind of starting to get worried a little bit about Jenkins. Hopefully he does come back soon. Also a guy like Jermaine Fetty, he's been out for a while too, but we'll see what happens next week. Okay, hopefully it's going to be a healthier week, but hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave your comments down below. As always, bear down.